Good evening and happy new year, my friends. Happy 2025. We're back. And the new year has begun in the usual style of me promising to lose weight again this year. And up to yesterday, we were still heavily celebrating because the last day of Christmas was yesterday. So, yeah, you may, if you see me a little bit nervous today, it's because the alcohol levels now need to come down. So I'm back on my, I don't know how many hundreds of diets I've been on throughout my life, or since I was about 28. So for the last 22 years, but I'm back on one. So if you see me getting a little bit more angry as January goes on, just bear with me. I will try and get back to normal as soon as possible. Hope you had a fantastic time. We certainly did. Great break. It never lasts long enough, does it? But there you go. We are happy to be back doing these Q&A sessions. We really are. And I've just been speaking to Tony now because the last celebration days was yesterday, and Tony's wife is from Kazakhstan, and apparently it's Christmas Day in Kazakhstan today. There you go. So I'm just wondering whether that means that I could potentially have a small celebratory drink today, because obviously we know Tony and out of respect for his wife. What do you think? Should we? And apparently it's New Year's Day on the, I think he said the 13th. So when we go to Tony the producer, you will see his Christmas tree still up. So, you know, it's not because he's a little bit well, he is a bit strange, but you know, it's for a genuine reason. Anyway, hope everybody had a fantastic time. As I say, we certainly did, and we had a little bit of snow over the Christmas period. I know lots of you were sending emails asking if we were okay because they'd seen some news about Abruzzo and certain parts of Italy getting blizzards and all the rest of it, but everything was fine here. Luckily, even though I live up in the mountains, we didn't get very much at all. It pretty much disappeared the day after, but it certainly looked very, very Christmassy, which is what it's all about. And on that note, I just want to quickly, well, lots of people that sent best wishes on Facebook, on YouTube, and everywhere. It's absolutely fantastic. I love getting messages, and especially when people really appreciate the things that we're doing and the family that we're trying to create almost on this on these live streams. And I really do appreciate all the emails that you sent. And I've got to give a big shout out to the Avila family from Los Angeles that actually sent me a letter as well, sent me a letter and a card, and it arrived today. So that's probably the Italian post more than the American one. I can't see that. I think it's Michelle and possibly Leonardo. If I've got that wrong, then I do apologize. But a big shout out to you guys if you're watching. Thank you so much. It was such a nice, almost brought me to tears this morning, or this afternoon, should I say. So thank you very much. And I say, hope everybody had a fantastic time. But we are back. We're back, big style every Tuesday. Back to our usual things. Got a few things to tell you today. What Deborah's saying. Buonasera from Vittorito. I made it here and loved it. Fantastic. Well done, you. So this evening we have got, what have we got? We've got the Domenico and Tony's tongue twisting trials. We've also got stunning photo of the week. We've also got stunning photo of the week. I don't know. It's the big, massive question, massive Q&A. There you go. And lots of really bad sound effects. What else have I got to tell you? A few things to say today. I should take this off now, Tony. Can you remove that tonight's live stream? Everybody knows where it is now, can't I? I don't know if you can do that. In case you're wondering who I'm talking to Tony, the producer, who's just looking with a blank look on his face as to why that. Let me just get rid of that. There you go. I've done it for you. So anybody looking to rent a property in 2025, make sure you get in touch with our friends over at rentinabruzzo@gmail.com. And if you look on here, this is their YouTube channel as well, where they've got videos of the properties that they have available in this area. Around the Sulmona area, there's a property here in Palombaro. They have properties in a few different locations in Abruzzo. So get in touch if you're looking for short term. Also, if you're looking to find a place where you want to get a 12 months rental contract registered and everything else, so you can use it to get your visa to move out here, then it's another option to get in touch with them, because they've done that for quite a few people, and they also help you out getting everything registered and all that kind of thing as well. So contact rentingabroadtour@gmail.com if you are looking to rent a property while you're over here. The tours, 2025 tours, and unfortunately I'm going to be starting to talk about autumn as well soon. Can you believe that? We're only in January, but a few people have been asking me about the tour dates and when they're happening. So January, anybody that's booked on the January tour, we will be getting in touch with you this week. We'll be getting in touch by email, and we'll also be getting in touch by WhatsApp to start the WhatsApp group. So make sure that you have WhatsApp registered on your mobile phones, because we will do that, getting in preparation. Is that getting prepared? I should have probably said for the end of this month, and it should be a fantastic tour. I'm hoping, because they're saying there's going to be a bit of snow this weekend, hoping that this is sort of the last of it. The mountains are full, so it looks fantastic. But hopefully we should have some great weather by the end of the month. Fingers crossed. If not, then we just ski and sledge on the beach. That sounds fun, doesn't it? So we'll be in touch the next few days. So January has sold out. I've got a couple of people that are on the waiting list if anybody backs out of January. So if you are still interested, do send me an email to the info@homeministry.com. And if there are any problems, then obviously we'll add you to the tour. March 27th and 28th, there's only 2 spaces left. They must have pretty much sold out over the last few days. I've not actually looked at the bookings, but I went on to the forms today, and it just says there's 2 spaces left. So if you are looking at March, better be quick. Go on to our website, which is at the bottom, homeministry.com, and click on tours. May 8th and 9th, we've got 16 spaces left, which sounds a lot, but they tend to go extremely quickly. And 29th and 30th of May, there's just 14 spaces left. So if you are looking to come this first part of the year, we don't do them in June and July, because it's just simply too hot, and that's not fun. We're getting in and out of coaches, and with everything that we do on these tours, it is quite tiring, so we don't want to be doing that in the heat. What we are also looking at now, these don't book anything at the moment, but these are the proposed autumn 2025 tour dates, which we will confirm in the next couple of weeks. We just need to check availability of buses and all that kind of thing. But we're looking at the September the 25th and 26th, October the 23rd and 24th, and November the 6th and 7th. They are the proposed autumn 2025 tour dates, which I will confirm once they've actually been booked, and once the dates are released, I'll let you know, and you can go on the website and you can start booking for those as well. So that's the tours out of the way. Is anything else, Tony, that I'm not supposed to? Let's do stunning photo of the week, shall we? I love the pink house in Vitorito this week. What was that? Have you noticed Tony's just puts it on, and then that's because it's Christmas Day today, so he'll be celebrating Christmas Day in Kazakhstan if you just joined us. I love the pink house in Vitorito this week and all the parking. I plan to buy a lot of Fiats. You could get quite a lot of Fiats on that one, and it was a fantastic property. Mark and Nader. Oh, it's Capistrano, Mark and Nader. I like the purple details. Now then, I like the purple details. I'm not sure what I'm not. Tony's. Hold on a minute. What are you saying, Tone?
Oh, behind you.
Behind me.
Yeah.
The purple details. It's been like that for the last year.
Oh, no, it has. But
so Mark's obviously been drinking heavily over the time, and he's just suddenly realised it now. Thanks for clarifying that, Tom. Mark, Nader, great to hear from you. What was I saying? Completely lost what I was saying then. Anyway, yes. Stunning photo of the week. Let's get straight onto that. Stunning photo of the week actually goes to my son, Gianluca. So we went this weekend to Rocca Calascio, which is the highest fortress in the Apennines and in Italy, apparently, and one of the highest in Europe. And I've been wanting to see this place for a long time. We actually went up there with Domenico and his wife, and me being scared of heights, I'm not going to go into it, but it's high, and what an incredible place. I didn't actually get to see the castle in full because I was absolutely terrified when I got up there. But I will be trying again in springtime. What an unbelievable place it is. So here's the Susan saying we love Tony. Susan. Here's the photo. Look at that. Great photograph that he took, I think. And you can even see Domenico. I don't know if you can see mine, but that's Domenico there, clambering up to the top. But this is at 1,464 meters, and it dates back to 1239, probably earlier than that as well. But what an incredible! The famous view of this is more from the other side, but it was getting quite late, and we were very close to missing the last bus down, so we had to have a quick look around. But a great photograph. So I'm going to give photo of the week to my son, and then I took. That's as far as I got. So I did see sort of the castle a little bit, and then but on the left-hand side there's a bit of a drop, and the wind was blowing, and my knees were already shaking from the coach ride up there. So that's as far as I got. Brad saying we love Rocco Calascio. It is incredible. It's just another. I mean, this is the height. Photographs never really show you the height as such. But Capistrano is down here. But yeah, the road up is not one for the faint-hearted, and the coach drivers, well, I'm saying nothing about them. But what an amazing! It just, there's always something in Abruzzo that blows me away, and there's quite a lot of Abruzzo that I've not seen, and every time we go to these new places, it really does take you back. I thought I'd seen everything until I saw that, and that was something really, really special. And yeah, it just proves how amazing this place is. Okay, so what we're going to do now, we're going to start. I've got a couple of questions here, Tony. If everybody can just wait before they put the photographs on, just so we can. I've got a couple of questions that I want to do here because there's some important ones, and then so if you can wait, and then we'll start doing the Q&As. I forgot about that. It's time. Domenico and Tony's tongue-twisting trials. Anybody that joined us for the first time, this is where Tony, the producer, tries his best to speak in Italian. He will tell you a famous phrase from a film in his best Italian. Then later in the show, Domenico, the agent we deal with over the Sulmona side, will come and say it in his best English, and then you guys have got to guess what film it's from. That's from the once Domenico has done his at the end of the show. And as you'll remember, the last live stream, Tony was absolutely shocking and lost. I had so many complaints about that. So many people disappointed. You've been speaking Italian. You've been living for all these.
Do you know what kicked in? You know what kicked in? ADHD kicked in.
ADHD? Is that what it was?
Yeah, no, it is. Yeah, definitely. Honestly, it is.
I believe
One
you.
One
anno to you as well. Happy New Year to you as well. But it's Christmas Day for you today, isn't it? Have you had another turkey?
No, we've been shopping.
That makes a change. Okay, Tom, are you ready? Because we need to get on with these Q&A sessions. It's coming over to you now. So Tony has not seen this in your best Italian. I'm going to give you 2 seconds, and I'm going to tell you the style that you've got to you got to say it in. Have you received it?
Yeah.
Are we ready? Right. So in your best, this is an easier one.
Okay.
In your best Italian, so you got to say it in a sort of a hopeful way.
Oh, okay.
But with the tint of it's not really going very well for me as well.
just a tint.
Yeah, a hint, should I say? Not a tint. Right, go.
Ok. Devo continuare a respirare perché domani il sole sorgerà e chissà la marea cosa più portare.
I'll give you a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, is that Maria? Maria.
I'm not telling you. We'll see you later. He didn't do too bad. There was a couple of words that he got completely wrong, but I wonder if anybody gets it already. I would very much doubt it from that. So wait, by the end of the show, we're going to get Domenico on. He's going to do it in English, and then we can go from there. Okay, start getting your questions ready. I'm going to read a couple out here. I want to quickly say CODIS Fiscals. People ask me, saying that, how do you get your CODIS Fiscals? Can we get them? We can. That's correct, Salma. Oh, Salma, I've got some of your questions as well today. It is where Lady Hawk was filmed with what's she called? Is it Sharon? Was it Sharon Stone? Anyway, if anybody wants to see that castle, that's what was filmed there. Yeah, CODIS Fiscals. People have been saying, how do I get them and can we get them? Yes, we can get them. It is getting more and more difficult. We can get them, but please, 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 if you're considering buying a property in Italy over the next year, go on to the consulates, your local consulates website, write in their CODIS Fiscal and apply online. I know some of the consulates are being ridiculous about it and saying you can't do it, or you know, we can't do it unless you've got proof of a contract and all this sort of stuff. Just try. Please, please try, because it does save so much if you've already got your CODIS Fiscal in hand. As I say, we can get them for you, but it's much easier to do it from your consulates. Some consulates are fantastic. Michelle Pfeiffer, that's it, not Sharon Stone, it was Michelle Pfeiffer. So some consulates are still being fantastic. Please get them. Try and get them as soon as you can. The CODIS Fiscal is the tax code that you need to be able to buy a property. So go on to your local Italian consulate website and get it from there. Or if you come into Italy beforehand, maybe book an appointment with the tax office, the Agenzia dell'Entrata, to go and get one in person, because it does save so much time. It really, really does, and becoming very difficult because the Italian side says one thing, the people over in the US or the London ones are great, the Canadian one seems to be good, but some of them over in the US are saying you've got to get them here, and then people are saying, well, how can I get them here if I'm not there? And the ones here are saying you've got to get it from the consulates. So just try and do that. I've got a couple of things that I want to go through. But somebody said, what does your all-in price mean? What does it actually mean? So when we say all-in, so you will notice that all the videos that we put on a Saturday, put on the YouTube channel on a Saturday, it does say including all fees and taxes. And it literally does include all fees and all taxes. So it includes, it's slightly changed now from this year, and for some of the sales that we did towards the end of last year, there's a couple of things that we've included in the price. But what it includes now is all of our fees to help you to get this over the line, so to speak, to be your power of attorney, that kind of thing. All the translations needed, a geometer who will help us check the documents and help them with the preparation of the documents ready for when we go to the signing and check them and all that kind of thing. The notary fee, the notary taxes, so all the government taxes that are due for the purchase, the power of attorney document, us to be power of attorney, any preliminary contracts, so any deposit contracts that you need, all that kind of thing. Changeover of all utilities. This is different now. So from this year and some of the sales at the end of last year, changeovers of all utilities and setting up the payment methods, registering for your bins at the local, so your refuge taxes at your local council. It's also going to be another new thing, which is going to be the key handover with a pre-check to make sure that everything is working. So once everything's been done, once everything's been changed into your name, the electric, the gas, the water, maybe it's getting connected for the first time, and then you're coming out in a month's time, we're going to have somebody that will meet you with the key, obviously give you the key, but they will have gone in there beforehand just to make sure everything is done. So we're really trying to include as much as possible, because they've been services that have been paid for extra to our usual thing. But what we've decided to do, as I say, from this year and from a number of the sales at the end of last year, is to include all of that. So we're literally trying to get it so it's an all-in-one package, if you like. So that's what it means. There's not the only extra cost on these contracts is on these packages is if you're giving us power of attorney, the cost of the notary wherever you are, and to get the apostle stamp. Now in the US it costs very little, usually less than $100 to do all of that. In the UK it can be £400 or £500 depending on the notary. I don't know why it's so expensive in the UK. And in Canada, places like that, again, it's usually less than $100. That's the vast majority of people have told me around about sort of those sorts of prices. So that's the only thing extra. There's no estate agency fees. We use estate agents. That's the important thing. We use estate agents, but they agree not to charge our clients, you, any commission. So the reason why they do that, I work with 2, soon to be 3, quite a lot, and another person that I work with every now and then. But they are they want to work with us because they want to use our platforms, obviously with YouTube and all the rest of it. So they want to work with us, but the agreement is to work with us. They cannot charge you a commission. That's the agreement we have with them. They don't give me any commissions. We get paid for the jobs that we do for you to get it over the line. They get paid from the owner, because here in Italy you get a commission from the owner and the buyer. But they drop the one for the buyer, so you can use our services. So that's one of the big pluses of coming through us. Okay, Tone, if you want to start adding, I don't know if any questions have come through yet, or if everybody is just that's not a question, Tone. That's just a statement. He's looking for questions. Start writing your questions now. I'm going to cover one while he is doing that. And this came up. I actually got a bit of a panic email from somebody that said to me that they wanted to know how we choose the properties that go on YouTube. And this has come about, but I've not watched the video myself, and I'm not really interested. But this has come about from apparently another YouTube channel saying, using one of my phrases, which is always nice, isn't it? And saying that they're very independent and they won't say something stunning if it's, and they used a word which I'm not going to say on here. Not sure why people like to say so. People, I think when people pull others down and big themselves up, I'm always a little bit weary about things like that. We are not estate agents. It could be quite easy for me to be completely soulless about all of this and just say, you know what, I'm just going to put on what I want to put on. If an estate agent is going to give me a commission, I'll get the best commissions from that once I'm going to put that video on. I don't care if it's good, bad, whatever. I could be like that, and I wouldn't be doing anything wrong. I'd just be pushing videos on the channel, whatever I want to do. But I've been doing this now for 20 years. Something like that, and we were part of an estate agency. We decided to go a different way for our own reasons, for the services that we offer, which I'm going to go into those on another webinar in a couple of weeks. When we put property, our YouTube channel was a second, how can I say it, was a secondary thing. Our job is 70%, 80% helping people get sales over the line, whether that's with other estate agents, whether it's with property videos and all the rest of it, which the vast majority is from property videos. But the YouTube channel sort of it fell into itself almost. We did a video of a property that went viral on a small scale, but made the channel what it is. The properties that get on our channel get on there because I think that they're fantastic properties. We have a bit of a criteria that these properties have to meet to get onto the channel. We can only do one property per week because we couldn't physically do any more than that, because to handle those sales, as well as sales coming in from other parts and sales coming from tours and from Patreon and things like that, it would be impossible if we start putting 2-3 videos, because we want to be there from the beginning to the end. So we do have to be choosy. We have to also choose areas. We have to try and mix the areas up, even though a lot of the time the towns may be the same as you know, you get quite a few in Palombara, you get quite a few in Vittorito, quite a few in Raiano. That's because they're popular areas, but we do try and mix it up a little bit wherever possible. We're due to get a bit of bad weather soon, so maybe you may see a bit more in Palombara, because that's obviously where I live, and it's going to be closer for me to film. Sandra's just saying, is the playlist going to be updated? The playlists are updated. It's only properties that's not been updated is any that's just sold in the last couple of weeks while we've been off, but the playlists on YouTube are updated. So the way this works is, what we do is we will work with certain people that we trust to do the job that we expect, because we've been doing this for long enough now to know what we expect and to know how to treat people. Otherwise we wouldn't be in business the amount of time that we have. And these people, quite a few people, quite a limited amount of people. And I'll be honest with you, the main ones are Domenico and Claudio. Domenico being probably the one we work with 70% of the time, and then Claudio 20-25%, and the rest a couple of percent. But there's one of those we're going to be working with more. What these do, these people have seen the value of our job, how we do things, how we work with people from abroad. They obviously have seen, I'm going to talk about the website soon, Dorian, as well, but that's going to be updated again in the next 2 weeks. They've obviously seen how we manage people, and they're thinking, okay, well, it's much easier with somebody that speaks perfect English, perfect to a certain level, and also Italians, and the fact that we can be power of attorneys and the trust that we have with people, the relationship. That's what we're good at between myself and Silvana, is the relationship that we have with you, and they see the value in this. So unlike going down the path of other estate agents that then decide to have a shop, which is fine, have loads of properties in the window, take you to see loads of properties, we decided to do it a different way. And what I do is I put out to the agents, obviously, to get us properties. And what they do is they send us videos of properties that they've been to see. Now, you can go and see 20 properties, and out of that, there may be 5 that's worth anything, that's worth having. Either the rest are too overpriced or not in good locations and all the rest of it. What they do then, once they've sieved that down to 3, 4, 5, whatever it may be, because I can't physically go out and see them all, they will then take a video of the properties, and they send them to me and say, these properties we feel are going to be worth doing a video. I will look at the videos, and depending on what I see will depend then which one we decide to do a video of. I will personally go and see them all once it's been narrowed down to the 5, but I will choose from that 5 maybe 1 or 2 that make it to the video channel, because we have some fantastic properties that just won't come across on a video. There's one in particular in Sulmona that we take the tours to, but we've tried doing a video of it, but it just doesn't come out. It just doesn't show what it is. And so we will then take it down to ones that I think are going to be good for the video, good value for money, or excellent value for money, and great properties. Now, I may get that wrong sometimes. You know, some people may say, well, that one was a rubbish one that week. Okay, I have my reasons to put that on, and I'll stand by those reasons. But we have probably between 85 and 90% success rate on the video channel. In other words, 85 to 90% that goes on the channel will sell. And so we must be doing something right. But I also appreciate there's going to be lots of houses that I may think are good, I may not think are that good, but you will think they're perfect. I understand all of that, but we have to narrow it down, and I need to be sure of what you're getting, because if, God forbid, it's never happened to me up to now, touch wood, if you came over and said, Dave, this is horrible, don't like this at all, I need to be sure that I can resell that for you. And it's quite a big responsibility. And that's so we really narrow these down, and we do that. So the thought of just putting anything on there, I wouldn't do that to me, let alone do that to you. Just absolutely no way. Everything that you see on our channel, and it's got nothing to do with which agent I decide. It's got nothing to do with somebody's paying me more or paying me less. Our services are what they are. That's it. And it's all clear and transparent on all the contracts and the last contract and everything. It's clear what everybody's getting paid out of it. So it's sort of the idea of just putting anything on doesn't happen like that. But that's how we choose the properties. And the ones that are left over, so out of 20, we break it down to 5. Let's say I video 2. What happens to the other 3? I hear you ask. Well, the other 3 there will still be fantastic properties, but they've not made it onto the channel because maybe it didn't video right, or maybe we've had too many in that area and we need to spread them about a little bit. They go onto Patreon. We've now started putting some of Domenico's. I've got Claudio now that's going to start doing videos. He's not been doing those in the past. But Domenico's videos will then make it onto Patreon. And it will be a rougher video, but you still get to see the property. And that's why Patreon is great for those who are ready to buy straight away. And the number of people then buy from Patreon. And you get to see those behind-the-scene properties. Also, the tours, the people that come out on the tours get to see all the new ones coming in as well. So that's another way, another great way to do the tours. This is how we do it. It's not how everybody does it. I said we're not estate agents. This is how we plan it. Taking people around to see property viewings outside of the tours is very limited to when we can do that. You know, if our agents are available, they will do it. But again, that's just the way that we do it. And at the end of the day, if people prefer to go with a normal, traditional estate agent, that's fine. Use these sessions that we're doing for hints on how you should work on things and all that kind of thing. Maybe you won't come through us. That's absolutely fine. we do these sessions for other reasons, hopefully you will come over and buy a property in Abruzzo. Well, that's great. Whether it's through us or not is not the issue. But I just wanted to make it clear that the properties that we choose to go every Saturday, there's a reason behind it, and I stand by every single one of those. Even the odd one, I think I had 2 last year that weren't really appreciated, and they got slated by a couple of people or by a number of people. Fair enough, I can understand. But for me, they were still great properties, and I stand by that all the time, and that's how we get to that point. David, do you ever renegotiate on a property that takes a long time to sell, or do you just leave it alone as long as it takes? Good question, Darren. We get the best price, or our agents get the best prices possible, because that's another thing. When we put the video properties on there, we need to be sure. What we don't want to, some owners will say, let's start it at this price and see how it goes. Straight away, I say, we're not doing a video then, because you can't, once you've done the publicity, there's a great chance that that property will sell in a short amount of time. People start contacting usually straight after the video, especially the really, really excellent properties. And they will lose out, because if they put a price that's too much, first of all, I won't put it on. If it's sort of half and half, if I think, yeah, it is just about worth it, but then if they're going to drop it another 10K a month later, well, you've just wasted the opportunity. So the video properties really have been negotiated heavy. And the way the agents do that is they say, look, I've got these other properties that'll go on. These people are going to drop to this price. If you're not going to do that now, there's no point doing a video. And everybody wants a video to be done because they know the success rate behind the videos. So it gives the agents lots of ammunition to get the best prices possible. Now, if a property has been on there for a long time, luckily it doesn't happen very often. If it does, then yes, we would always try and renegotiate. We don't necessarily do the video again. We'll try and renegotiate. That's usually done if somebody is interested and say, look, I've seen it's been on for a while. Can you try and renegotiate? Then we'll speak to the agents, and yes, the short answer to that question is yes, we will try and do that wherever possible. But as I said, we really do try and get these people down as much as possible in the first instance. When do the YouTube houses go onto your website? Okay, Judy. So a lot of the time, the YouTube properties sell. To be honest with you, it's a high percentage rate that they sell. They should go onto the website around about 2 weeks after. And the website has been redesigned recently. Some of you may have seen some of the pages that have changed, and it's due to get another update in now. It needs to be done in the next week to 10 days. So the ones that the two playlists, the playlists are easy to on YouTube. They have a playlist section. You've got sold properties and available properties, so we can flick those over quite quickly. So if you want to know what's still available, go on to the available properties playlist, and you'll see them all there. Obviously, once somebody puts an offer in, like today, there's been a couple of people that's contacted us, so tomorrow they will be updated again on the playlist. So they sometimes can be 24 hours, 48 hours behind, or if it's a weekend, maybe it doesn't get updated while the Monday. But the available property list is on there. Putting it on the website again, it may seem strange that we don't keep the website up to date as often as what we should, but again, it's down to the fact of the way we work and the fact that we are not estate agents, that we don't just sort of have listing after listing after listing after listing. If I won't take anything on now that I don't think's worth it, and I've taken a lot off the website, and there's still more to come off. And I've been waiting to get some of the ones that are on the video channels that's maybe not sold, so I can take a batch off and put a new batch on there. It's a different way of doing things, and some people may think it's strange, but it works for us. And so even though the website is going to be updated in about 2 weeks, there's also a bit of an argument where people are saying, let's just stick to playlists and let's just keep it on the playlist on YouTube. It's something that we're still working out what's the best way to do it, because if we have a website with 200 houses on, and then people obviously say to us, we want to come and see these properties, and then somebody else says we want to see the properties like we used to be out 5 days a week, 3 or 4 of us. We can't physically do that anymore now. So this is something that we're trying to find the best way round to get a good balance of these two. But the tours, Patreon, and the channel, they are the main three things. But the website will be updated it's going to be the end of next week. They will be updated. Tammy, could you add information like how there's steps from parking to the home? Ones with a specific parking spot are a bit easier to see. I'm another one with mobility concerns. Yeah, it is something we do get asked a lot to add certain bits of information on there. I am going to start using maps as well. I'm just trying to work out how Google Maps works when it comes to the videos. Yeah, I mean, usually I do point out on the video. I know some people may not listen to the whole video all the way through, but I do tend, if it's difficult to get to the property, I will make quite a big deal about that. I will show the steps. I will show the way up to the property. Being able to add information like that onto the website, yeah, I mean, we can't do it as bullet points because the way the website is designed, the bullet points are things like the number of bedrooms and the square meter and all that kind of thing, not necessarily to include if there's steps and all the rest of it. But on the video channel, I can say that if it is awkward to get to, I will always say that. I won't hide that from people because that's really, I know it's important to a lot of people. So yeah, if you watch the start of the video, when we get into, once we've done the town visit, if you like, and getting close to the property, I will always say if it's a little bit difficult to get up there. Frosh Photo, which I think is John, if I remember rightly. When we buy a property in the US, we have a property inspection before we close the sale to ensure plumbing, roof, electric, etc. works correctly, or if repairs are needed. How does that work there? Great question. The way it works here, properties are sold as seen here. When you have a property that is, I mean, a lot of the properties that you will buy in the US and the UK and lots of other countries usually will have people in them and they've been lived in and people just want to move on and sell it. So you can see the electric's on, you can see everything's working, the gas is on, the water's on, all the rest of it. The properties that you buy in Italy tend to be older properties, lots of them. You do occasionally get some that's lived in and you can see the electrics, plumbing and everything works. The difficult thing is if everything's been turned off. So if grandfather passed away a year ago and the family's turned off all the electrics, all the water, all the gas, everything, to save them money, obviously you have a bit of a problem then because you can't test it. And it is a strange one. The properties are priced at a way that if there are any problems, that you should have enough money to be able to address those problems. Now, when you sign a contract, when you go to the notary's office, then the notary will ask the owners if the utilities work, and it can actually be written into the contract. So it's a phrase that the notary's put in there to say that they are not the utilities, the electrics or the plumbing of the time. So it's not necessarily up to today's regulations, but they were done to the regulations at the time that they were done. So if it was done 10 years ago, they were done to the regulations that applied 10 years ago. And then it will say at the bottom, but they work. So if the owners say, well, we switched it off last year, grandfather passed away last year, we switched it off when he died. Before he died, he lived there and the boiler worked, the electrics worked, the water worked. And that's how it's done. And it may seem strange because obviously you don't know until actually everything comes on. But there is that phrase that can be added in there to say that if it does work. Boilers and things like that, old boilers, you should always consider that that's for the heating, that kind of thing. You can get surveyors coming in and they will look at the structural side. They will look to see if there's any signs of any leakage for water and that kind of thing. But unless you want them to put all the electrics and everything back on, which whether families will do that or not is another story, then you are taking on a property at your, dare I say, at your own risk. As I said, usually they're priced up to well be covered for things like that. But you can get surveyors in there. You can ask them to come in and have a general look at the property. When it comes to electrics and everything else, at the end of the day, these properties are old. So when you've got an old townhouse or an old, you know, we look at the electrics as we go around and we say, look, you can tell they're going to need changing, especially if you buy something that's really old, that's not been lived in for years and years. Or if we get the sense that somebody has lived in there recently, you can usually tell by the calendars on the walls when people stop living in there. You can get a good sense of that. But being 100% as to whether everything works or not is not so easy when you're buying properties that have been abandoned for such a long time. As I say, it may seem strange. Touch wood, I've never had a problem that's been any bad problems, but you're always going to get, if a property's been empty for a number of years, you're going to get blockages somewhere, or you're going to get something that doesn't work correctly, or the toilet won't flush, or something like that. That's just the nature of what you're buying. You're not buying a new property or a property where people are living in and using it all the time. So yeah, it's a tough one to explain without it sounding, you know, in the way of people saying, well, why would I ever buy there? It's just the reality of what you're buying. You're buying older properties, and you can see with your own eyes they've been priced with that in mind, that it is old and some things may need change, may need to be changed, and it's just something that you have to accept that's the way it is. Judd, what is the typical shortest and longest amount of time it takes to close once the compromise has been signed? The reason why I'm laughing, and I shouldn't be laughing, is because Judd is hopefully going to be a future meet the home buyers and buying in a great place in a great town, and unfortunately it's going on a little bit longer than what we would have liked, just waiting for some documents to come in. Usual time, week. I mean, the quickest I've closed is a week, or just over a week. Usual time, we always say to allow up to 3 months. When you sign a compromesso, which is the promise to buy, promise to sell, it's usually agreed at that point the date of closure. And I know in your case as well, Judd, that date has passed by due to some problems with the owner's documents that will be sorted. But I would say, usually when people do compromissos, they will do it between 3 to 6 months. But it should be, the vast majority should be around about 3 months. But it can happen. I mean, I've got another guy that came on a little bit early. I'm sure he's written a comment on, who's been waiting for well over a year now for a property, and he's only ever happened to me probably 4 times in all the times I've been doing this. 4 times, I think, 3 or 4 times, where people have had to wait a really long period of time because there's been certain things we've not been able to resolve straight away. But the vast majority, I would say around about 3 months. Pasta Ponte, the 7% tax for under 20,000 is it 20,000 for the city or for the comune? So it's 20,000 for well, it is the council, it's the comune. So it's not, for instance, if you bought in the outskirts of Sulmona has 23,000, 24,000. So if your address still comes under the commune of Sulmona, but you live in a small hamlet, so like for instance where we live in a place called Tornelli, if you like. Tornelli is a hamlet. Don't know how many houses are in here, but let's say there's 100 houses, but we're outside, we're still in the council of Palombaro, so we will come under Palombaro. So Palombaro is only 1,000 people, so it's not a problem. But let's say Palombaro was 20,000, 21,000, but Tornelli, where I live, is only 100 people. We still come under Palombaro. So it is the comune that you've got to look at. So see what the comune is. It's not the region, so it's not Chieti, Pescara, L'Aquila, or Teramo. It's the actual council that you come under. On that note, are you putting? Oh, you've got another one. Kathy, this question that I am perplexed about. In the videos, when you say this town is 5 minutes and that one is 5 minutes away, without a car and say limited buses, how do people get around? Cab? No, without a car. No, if I usually I will say on the videos whether it's a drive or a walk. Cabs, very, very rare that people would use cabs in the countryside, and there's not many companies that do it. Sometimes you will get a few people that maybe do it, dare I say, on the side or something like that. You know, there could be some people that have a taxi firm if you want to call it a taxi firm. But the main areas to get cabs are the bigger. Sulmona only started having cabs there, I think, a couple of years ago, if I remember rightly. Places like Pescara and those kind of places, they will always have cabs, but that's just really to get around the city rather than not necessarily going out to the villages. So yes, you would need a car. If it's a place where I say, that you will need a car to get around, it's because there's maybe not as much bus services and things like that. Whereas the places, if I do mention that the public transport's good, that means that there's bus services to take you from one place to another. So yeah, it depends what I say on the on the video, but it's usually buses, trains, or private cars. And I always say to people, to be fair, there's nothing better than having a car here, because the place where I went this weekend, I would have never gone there if I didn't have a car. It just wouldn't be somewhere. There's no way you could get a bus from where I live to going up there. So it's always best with a car. But yeah, just listen to what I say about public transport when you're watching the videos. Have you got another one, Tony, or can I? Is it? I wish you could see his face. He's sort of in this kind of position. You can tell he's reading the questions. I can't read that name. What does that name there? So let me just. Why is my screen all of a sudden covered? Just 1 second. Take. Oh, I think I know what this is. If I've got the right person, I think came on a tour. Wondering if you can give a rough estimate of how much it costs per square meter to build a house, specifically in the Palomaro area. Do you assist with buying land? Land, yes, we can assist with that with no problem. And I know somebody, a great contact for building houses and restorations and all that kind of thing. Very difficult to say how much it used to be, because it depends what needs to be done underground. That's the problem. Sort of from the ground upwards, you could say, 1,500 euros per square meter. You could probably gone up now since all the price increases and everything else. And that's what we used to say. So 100 square meter, 150k. You should probably consider somewhere around those figures, but it depends what goes off under the ground. That's the main thing, because we want to have some work done in our garden, and where we want to have this done, we're going to need to drill down 15 meters, which I was shocked at, because when we had certain things done on the house, we only had to go down 5 meters with certain piles and things like that. So I was quite shocked the difference, and that obviously made a huge difference to the prices. So it really does depend on what's underneath and what you can't see. But maybe consider still around about the 1,500 euros per square meter. But as I say, prices have gone up, because due to all the global problems, but should consider roughly around about that. Salma, we trust your judgment and advices. Thanks for all that Humanity does. You're very welcome. And because you've just written that, Salma, I'm going to ask, you sent me a couple of questions. So I hope your husband's, did you mention? Yeah, my hubby has so many questions. So I hope your husband's watching, so we can try and ease his worries. So Salma sent me an email, and I think it's Salma and Matt. I think you've given me permission to read this out loud, because you mentioned the Q&A session. I love this first question. Should we buy now, even if we're only able to be there once a year? We're retiring in 5 years. Of course, you should buy now. Definitely. Is that reassuring enough? Is that what you were looking for? No. If we do buy now, what to do with the property management? For example, lawns, grass, garden care, whether we leave the utilities on, if the pipes burst, etc. How would we know? Is there a property management company that you use or recommend? So, lots of people. With regards to whether you should buy now, I watched before Christmas, I watched a video from another channel in the area that they were talking about their thoughts on where the prices were going and that kind of thing. I have seen a huge increase in interest, in particular from the States, over the last 2 years, well, since COVID, really. A huge interest and a huge shift in what people are buying, and how quick people are buying, and how properties are getting snapped up. Now, there could be certain political reasons why that's happening, especially if it's coming from the US, but I'm not going to talk politics. That I believe that to a certain extent, but the amount of interest coming from the US has changed the market so much. And people say, are the prices going up? It's not a case of prices going up. It's a case of the number of properties that are available sort of going down, if you like, in the sense of as soon as they come onto the market, they're getting snapped up, which is a market that I'm not used to. I've done this, as I said, nearly 20 years. And the market I've seen in the last 2 or 3 years, I've never seen anything like it in my life. And even talking pre-Brexit, when we were selling mainly to Brits, I was in part of an estate agency at the time, and it was all Brits, all Brits that could move out here without any need of any visa and all the rest of it. But even looking at the figures, they're looking at the things when the Brits were really buying big style out here, it is nothing compared to what is happening recently. And people are discovering Abruzzo. I like to think that I'm part of that as well. I'm not going to say it's me that's transformed the property market here, but obviously channels like ours is getting out to a lot of people, and obviously there's other channels as well, and there's other people doing their promotions. So the word is getting out there, and without trying to worry people to say, you should buy now, otherwise you're going to lose out and all this kind of thing. I certainly don't think, like I heard somebody else say, which for me, they don't really understand the market, but that prices and demand is going down, because there's no indications for that whatsoever. The desire is huge because people are seeing, like what the Brits saw years ago, that they can actually retire, that people can actually retire and live a very comfortable life just by moving countries. And people are thinking, why not move to that place? Because I'm sick of where I am. I'm sick of the cost of living. I'm sick of the violence, the things that's changing. I'm not just talking about the US, I'm talking about lots of countries that will say this. And they're seeing a way out. People are suddenly realizing that we've got this much money wrapped up in a property. We could buy something over there for a fifth of the price, sell what we have here, put lots of money in the bank. The cost of living is so cheap. The pensions people can live on happily. And people are then suddenly thinking, we should do this. And the demand, obviously, from countries like the US, where there's so many people, so many millions and millions of people that live there, is just hitting these areas in a big way. And that goes for people. I was speaking to a lady today who's got a small bed and breakfast. And she said it's just unbelievable for the last few years what's been happening. And where before she was struggling to fill sort of months and months and months and only got the usual period, she's just busy continuously. And it's people, again, a huge amount coming from the States and coming from Canada as well. So should you buy now? I wouldn't, with all the problems of a house, so worrying about whether or not pipes will burst and things like that. I don't think in the UK, if a pipe burst, it's a huge problem. Obviously, it's a huge problem here as well, but houses are made a little bit different here. In the UK, a lot of wood and a lot of it would be a nightmare. Here, it's sort of mainly cement or stone. So I'm not saying it wouldn't do any damage, but you just do things to wind the house down ready for wintertime. But there are so many people, whether they're expats or whether they're locals, that do offer services like what you're asking, that will go around and visit the house once a month. I know an English guy who odd euros a month, and then go and visit the property just once a month. So there's lots of options for that. I don't think it'd be a huge concern. I did it before we moved out here, or we did it before we moved out here. The house, granted, wasn't in a great state, but it wasn't really a worry. You just sort of lock it up for winter and lock it up for certain times a year, and it doesn't really I don't know, it's not a consideration of mine. I think it should be more, could you find a house that because you mentioned gardening and things like that. If you're wanting something detached, maybe you could consider having something in the town for these 5 years and then getting detached later. But you'll always find somebody. You'll be amazed that people, especially local people, that will want to help, and you just pay them a small amount of money. They'll come and cut your grass and look after things. So they're not necessarily property managers, but there are some of those around as well. They may charge a little bit more than finding a smaller local company and that kind of thing. But there are lots of options. And I say, when it comes to winter, if you're not going to be here for 6 months in winter, then you do the usual things: drain the water out of the pipes. If you worry about a pipe bursting, then just drain the water out, and that's it. There's no water to go anywhere, so it's not going to, it's not as if we're living under sort of -20 for 3 or 4 months out of the year. So it's not something that you have to worry about too much. So hopefully I've convinced or gone somewhere towards convincing hubby to do something, but no, it's not something at consideration. I think you should just think about what the next 5 years look like for you, and if you think that you really want this to be part of your future, then I would look out for the deals now, in my opinion, because I've seen a huge change from 5 years ago, and from 10 years ago, and from 15 years ago. And this last 2 years, last year in particular, was off the scale. Obviously, I don't know what's going to be like this year, but it's already started. So yeah, I would consider it. Okay, we'll do this question, and then Domenico. I can see Domenico's on, so then I'll bring him on for the final part of the tongue twisting trial. So Robert, what percentage or amount is a normal deposit for a 200k property? Depends what kind of people. Like Domenico, who I work with, he tends to do the first deposits of 3,000 to 5,000 euros, somewhere like that, just to keep it not too sort of if we're going to be doing the signing reasonably quick. But let's say you found a property now and you're not planning on signing April, May time, then 10%, 5 to 10% can be a reasonable amount. But you want to make sure when you're handing those sorts of figures over, just obviously make sure who you're dealing with and all the rest of it. Make sure the documents are looked at. There's always things that can happen afterwards. Unfortunately, there's things when it gets right to the last minute that the notary will find. But I would say 10 to 20% is normal, and Italians would do that if they were buying from each other. But if it's a smaller property, if it's 30, 40, 50k, then sort of a few thousand euros should be fine. The other thing what you've got to ask yourself is, do I want to lose that property? If I only give them 2, 3, 4, 5,000 euro deposit, is that property going to be looked at by somebody else, and they'll say, well, okay, I'll pay that deposit back to this person, or double the deposit payment, because I really want that property. So if it's really desirable, by paying a slightly bigger deposit, then that would, because they have to pay you double back if they back out. So I would say on 200k, I would go to a maximum of 20k. If you can get away with 10, I would probably try that, but 20k would be a maximum for me. Okay. You didn't press the button, Tone. You didn't do the there it is. It's the final installment of Domenico Antoni's tongue twisting trials. Thank you so much, by the way, for the questions this evening. I know the people writing more questions. I will try and do these Q&A sessions once a month. I am going to be doing a couple of boring webinars soon where we have to talk about serious things, because I know we've been doing lots of fun stuff with the Meet the Home Buyers. I know people love Meet the Home Buyers, but it's still important to get some of these messages across about fees and taxes if you're not buying through us, and how those work. So we are going to be doing a few of those this month as well, just to get back into that the serious side of things. Okay, it's time. Let's bring Tony back on. What's with the serious face?
I was reading.
Oh.
That's my serious reading face.
Oh, well, there you go. And then it's time to bring on Domenico. Buonasera.
Hey,
ciao.
Dome.
Ciao, Tony. Happy New Year, Tony.
Buon anno.
Have you noticed Domenico's only talking to Tony? He's not speaking to me.
Buon
anno anche a me. Grazie.
Già ci siamo visti te.
Yeah, so we've already seen each other. Sì, però quando siamo andati là, mio cuore non era tanto. He's laughing now because of my little mishap, should we say? When we went to the castle that was 1,500 meters high, and I was on the bus like what can I say? A wreck. It was just a little bit too high for me. Allora, sei pronto?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know what we're doing, Tony is going to once again in his best English. Can we get rid of that ticket on the bottom, Tony? Because that's annoying me a little bit. In his best, not English, his best Italian, he's going to do a quote from a film, and then I'm going to send the same to Domenico, who's going to say it in English, and at that point you can guess the film. Ok, Tony, adesso io ti mando sul telefono di Silvia.
Ok.
Tony, do you want to give us?
Yeah.
You want to give it? You ready?
Yeah.
Go.
Devo continuare a respirare perché domani il sole sorgere e chissà la mare cosa puoi portare.
I'm still only giving you a 6 out of 10. Hai capito, Domenico?
Ho capito quello che ha detto Tony, ma il film
grazie.
Non è vero. It says you understood what Tony. Don't believe that for 1 minute. Ok, Domenico.
Yes. Ok.
2 secondi per studiare. So in his best English, and as soon as I've got a feeling I might win this week. As soon as he's finished, then you can guess. I will be looking out to. Let me just get the chat on, just so I can see who's going to be the first. Sei pronto?
Yes.
Vai.
I got to keep breathing because tomorrow the sun will rise. We know what to the tide cold bring. Non è piaciuto.
It was okay. This is going to be that. Nobody's going to get this. I'm definitely going to win this tonight. Let's see. I can't believe it. Geraldine's got it. Castaway. Geraldine, how did you get that from even Domenico's this week wasn't very good. Geraldine has got it right. Geraldine is shown YouTube. So we've got nobody from Facebook that's got it, but it is from Castaway. There you go. I'm lost for words. How somebody can get it from that? Somebody is definitely. Look, all these people, I have no idea. Oh no, Brad's got it as well. But yeah, Geraldine was definitely the winner. Oh well, there you go. I've lost again this week. Bravo. Hai fatto bene, anche se io non ho capito niente. Somebody must have understood it. Geraldine, your Italian must be terrible.
Perché il mio inglese è più americano che inglese.
Ah, Domenico saying he was speaking American, not English. Va bene, ciao, grazie. Ci sentiamo domani.
Okay. Yes.
Buona serata.
Ciao. Ciao Tony.
Ciao Tony.
Can't believe. I mean, yours was terrible, but Domenico's was even worse. See you later, mate.
See you later, alligator.
Well, there you go. We've had our fun, haven't we? Nobody, I can't see anybody from Facebook. I don't even know if there's anybody. Oh yeah, there are some people from Facebook. But there you go. So yes, that was right, Castaway. There you go. So folks, thank you very much. First one of the year. That's that one out of the way. Next week, not sure what I'm going to do next week. Send me a few ideas as well, what you want me to do. Because I mean, I really do want to get back into doing some of the, I say about the taxes and some of how the contracts work. But I also know that they are all, because if you go onto YouTube, you can click on the live section and you can look back at all of these things. So I know some of the taxes that we've covered quite a lot of, and I know you can go back and reference them. So it would be good to hear from you, what you think, whether or not, you would prefer to hear some more of the serious stuff as well as the house hunting stuff, or whether you prefer to hear people's stories that are out here. Yeah, just let us know. Paul Villafranca, let me know when you get the mail, Dave. I certainly will, sir. Did you put my Christmas present in there as well? I will let you know, with no problem at all. So yeah, let me know if you do have any ideas, maybe for new webinars, new live streams. Always up for things like that. And I am going to be doing one in a couple of weeks that talks a little bit more about some of the new services that we'll be doing and introducing a new face here that's going to be working under, well, there's two people actually under the umbrella of A Home in Italy. So there's a couple of bits of news to come from that as well, and some of the services more towards the Lean on Me service, where we help you buying other places around Italy or with other agents and that kind of thing, because we've recognized that that's a service that people want, and we've not been able to offer that as much as we would like to because we've been so busy on the other side. So we'll be introducing, we're still going through these phases. As I said, last year was an unbelievable year, thanks to you, and it sort of makes you move into different directions and try and make your work more streamlined, and that's what we're doing. So any advice from yourselves, any thoughts from yourselves is always welcome. And do a typical notary session, what happens, etc. We used to do that, France. I probably will. That might be a good one to do, actually. We may do that one next week. What happens inside. We used to do what happens inside the notary's office. So we may bring that. That's quite a good one. That I think we'll probably do that one next week. And the whole buying process and what happens would be awesome. Yeah, I think we will get back into something. And I'm also crossing my fingers for February as well. So I really want to just put that comment back on again, Tony, if we can get that. But I really want to get this. It's Robert's. There we go. Hold on 1 second. This is one of the acts. When we get this over the line, Robert, because this is what I did mention earlier, that we've been waiting for one particular person's been waiting way over a year, and this is the person here. It will make me so happy the day I can ring you and say we're doing it really soon. But we're getting there. I do feel like we're getting there. There you go. Yeah, so let me know. Let me know what you think. Let me know if there's certain types of things you want me to cover. But I think we'll probably do a notary one next week. Okay, thank you so much. Have a look at as well Patreon. I know it's a cost. I know it's a cost per month, and I really appreciate all the people that's on Patreon that do back us on that. But you do get quite a lot of content on there as well. And there's also a forum on there, so people are starting to use it more to chat, and that's another. Almost like a family again. If you're not looking to buy just yet, maybe Patreon's not for you. But if you're looking, certainly within the next 6 months, it could be a great way for you to get to see early access to videos, and also to see some of those videos that don't make it to the channel, not because they're bad, but because we can only choose so many. The cost is €14 for 14 euros. Per month, and that should, you should find that quite useful. So Tony's pointing at this one. Dan, David, sorry, I'm a bit confused. If you don't have a property on your list, does that mean I can't use your service? No, Dan. If we do have services where you have. If you're buying through somebody else, or if you've seen something for sale through a private person, we do have lots of services we can help you with. So yeah, don't worry about that at all. Just send me. I need to do another session on our services to make it a little bit clear. We had such a short amount of time to explain it tonight, and I know some people are confused by it, especially when I say we're not estate agents. But we will have another session on that within the next couple of weeks as well, when I introduce a new person to you as well. Okay, there you go. Thank you so much. We'll see you again next week, same time, 7 p.m. And let's get off to a great start for 2025, and let's get some of you into some incredible properties out here in Abruzzo. See you soon.